All right, welcome back to the slides. Lesson 4, connecting with leads. There are 3 primary ways that we connect with leads. The way that we primarily connect with leads are telephone, email, and message. Those are the 3 ways. Most of the time we combine all of them to contact a prospect. So I will email, then I will message, then I will call them. Or I will call them, then I'll follow up with an email, then I'll follow up with a message on Facebook or whatever. Or maybe I'll reach out to them on Facebook, and then I'll call them, and then I'll email, follow up, phone call, whatever. It really doesn't matter what order it goes in. But we usually use all 3. And sometimes if it's a local client, we will go and visit them, but we usually don't do that all that often. Most of the time, it's a combination of those 3 things. And like I said, we usually do all 3 for every prospect. So the telephone script is very, very simple. Hey, my name is Kenny. I'm calling because I saw your listing on Groupon. Not really sure if this makes sense or not, but if I was able to take that offer, put it on another platform, and double the results that you're seeing, you'd at least be willing to listen to me, right? That's all we say to them. Okay, that's basically it. And then what I do from there is I'll say to them, if most everybody says yes to that, like why wouldn't they, right? Sometimes people will say, yeah, what's the other platform? I'll get to that in a second, right? And again, that's what I say to them, right? I'll put the cart before the horse here. We're not getting married on the first date. We just met. Let's kiss first. I'll say stuff like that, and that's just my personality. Maybe you won't, but that will come up sometimes. But most of the time, you're just going to get, well, of course I'd listen to it. I mean, I don't know if I'd buy anything, but of course I'd listen to it. Then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you some information about myself, my company. What's a good time to call you back with some more stuff that we could talk about when you have like 5 or 10 minutes for me? Book an appointment, and that's it. Okay, and then we're going to go into later closing the deal. So don't worry about that right now. But again, this is what we do to get our foot in the door and actually start the process moving forward. And then when they ask for information, I send them results of other people. Okay, so you're going to see a common theme here. This is all based on psychology, and it works really, really, really well, just like you saw a common theme and a pattern in the OxyClean ad, the P90X ad, the Dean Graziosi ad, and you will see in the Ginsu knife ad. You'll see in the George Foreman ad. You'll see in the Chuck Norris, what the hell is that called? It's not the Bowflex, whatever it is. The Chuck Norris workout machine ad. You'll see it in every single ad that you look at. It's the same thing. This is the same. The email is the same as the phone message. Basically, hey, my name is Kenny. I'm writing because I saw your listing on Groupon. Not really sure if this makes sense or not, but what if I was able to take that offer, put it on another platform, and double the results that you're seeing? You'd at least listen, right? Give me a call when your schedule permits at my phone number, and we will talk. Or you could simply reply to this email with a time, and I will give you a call. Okay, so we added that little bottom piece in there just to make sure that it makes sense for an email, obviously. And these are all opens. So this is if I'm opening with an email. This call is if I'm opening with a phone call. And this message is if I'm opening with a message. So I'll find someone on Groupon, find their business Facebook page, and then I will send that Facebook page a message. Hey, my name is Kenny. I'm just shooting you a quick message because I saw your listing on Groupon. Not really sure if this makes sense or not, but what if I'm able to take that offer, put it on another platform, and double the results that you're seeing? You'd at least be willing to listen to that, right? Send, and then wait. Do that 100 times a day. You'll have more clients than you can ever imagine in the first week of you doing that. I promise you, you will be overwhelmed with getting results if you just sent that message out to 100 businesses that are on Groupon every single day. But you wouldn't be worried about getting clients. You'd be worried about what the hell do I do to fulfill everything. That would be your main worry. So maybe don't do it to 100 people. Do it to like 20. All right, so prospecting objections. When you have a prospect on the telephone and you're prospecting them, the only 2 objections that you're ever going to hear, you're going to have to write notes here because I didn't write this down for you guys. I did that purposely because I want you to actually learn it, not just read it. But the only 2 objections you're ever going to hear are time-based and interest-based. So people will say when they're on the phone with you, I'm not interested right now. Well, you don't even know what I'm talking about yet. So let's pump the brakes a little, right? You don't have to actually say that because we have objections written out. But you'll hear that, and you'll also hear, I don't have time right now, okay? You're going to answer both of those objections the same exact way. So I'm going to call someone up, and I'm going to give them my pitch, and they're going to say, I'm really not interested in that right now. It's funny you say that. That's exactly why I was calling. I never expect you to be interested based on what I just told you after a 5-second phone call. That's why I wanted to see if you had a few minutes based on your calendar where we could talk. Done. Okay? I call someone up, I give them my script, and they're like, I really don't have time for this right now. It's funny you say that. That's exactly what I was calling. I'd never expect to barge into your day and steal 10 or 15 minutes off your calendar. That's why I'm calling you now to see if you have a few minutes based on your calendar when we could talk. See how it's the same exact answer to both questions? Those are the only two objections that you will ever hear on a prospecting call. Now, if somebody says to you, "Oh, I don't have the money for something like that," I'm honestly going to say to them, and if you've ever come to any of my live, if you come to the live training call that we have for this, you'll hear me demonstrate this over and over and over again. And I do this live on calls all the time. I'm probably the only person, I think, that does any kind of sales training and all that stuff where I actually do live stuff in front of an audience. Like, there's nobody else that does that. So people will say, "Oh, I don't have the money." And I'll say to them, "What are you talking about? I didn't mention anything about money. I didn't mention anything about you buying anything. I don't even have anything to sell you right now. What I said was, if I could do that, you'd at least be willing to listen. I don't even know if I could do it yet." And then I'll say something like, "Let's pump the brakes a little. Let's kiss before we get married. Maybe hop in the back of my Jeep a couple times before we get married too. And then if it all works out, we'll proceed forward." Does that make sense? See, the whole point of objection handling is to make their objection sound as ridiculous as it actually is without sounding like a jerk. That's kind of the science and art behind it. And it works really well. These two objections right here, this is what you're going to primarily hear. "Not interested." And then, "Oh, that's funny you say that." It's exactly why I was calling you. I'd never expect you to be interested after a 30-second phone call. That's why I wanted to see if you had a few minutes based on your calendar where we could talk. Okay? When you say it like that, it's smooth. And they're always, not always, but most of the time, going to give in to you and say, "Oh, I'm free Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Boom, you're in. Okay? All right, that's the end of that lesson.